Now, you may have heard that countries like the UK care more about their people and what they eat and how healthy they are. But is that actually true? Or is a lot of the changes that you quote unquote see in the UK for more healthy eating, is it actually affected by lobbying just like it is here in the US? Okay. We don't talk a lot about lobbying in other countries because it's not as prominent as it is here in the US.
Yeah.
We have these trade organizations that represent big sugar, big, soda, big chips, big candy, and we hear all the time about how they're lobbying for changes, okay? But we don't usually hear about it in places like the UK. Well, let's rewind a little bit. Back in 2023, UK government decided that they were going to encourage stores to offer discounts on minimally processed foods, nutritious foods, and we're talking like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, that this was going to be a whole new health initiative tied to new rules restricting junk food promotions, because they argued that all the discounts and like sales on junk food made it more attractive to where people would buy it. And I'm kind of believing that, because I know that the only times I buy junk food is when it's on sale. When it is at its normal price, I'm not buying it because it's way too high. Okay. Now, what nobody talks about is the fact that after the initial push for this initiative and after extremely heavy lobbying from the Food and Drink Federation, which represents global brands like Nestle, Coca-Cola, Mars, and Unilever, that all of a sudden the government did a complete 180. Talking U-turn. Well, so what ended up happening with this health initiative? Okay, so originally the government was going to give guidance to retailers to shift their deals towards healthier, less processed foods. Okay, but the lobbying group pushed back, and they pushed back hard. Okay, they basically argued that the wording implied that processed foods are unhealthy, and they claim that that's not even backed by science. But then again, we already know that there's no standard definition as far as what is healthy versus unhealthy versus processed versus unprocessed versus ultra processed, because even the word ultra processed doesn't have a standard definition. It's based off of a scale that was in a scientific paper. Okay, so it's not like the government designed what is ultra processed. So according to leaked emails, they show that the FDF, repeatedly pressured officials to delete the phrase minimally processed from the guidance. Okay. And that eventually the government just gave in. The UK government gave in and they removed that word. Okay. So now the new version simply states that retailers should promote healthier options, which can still include ultra processed foods like energy drinks, snack bars, and frozen pizzas. Because you can put that this pizza is healthier because it has less sodium, or you know what I mean? Like, because you threw a piece of broccoli on it, that frozen pizza is now healthy because it has broccoli.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing as well. So if you have listened to any of these like wellness influencers, specifically if they tag things with Maha, you always hear about how UK foods and the versions of foods found in the UK are so much healthier than that in the US. Okay. And because they have, universal health care and all this stuff, that diets in the UK are so much better. But in reality, 80% of the UK diet is made up of these ultra processed foods. Okay. And this is especially true in their lower income and disadvantaged areas, just like in the US. Okay. Now, of course, we know that UPFs typically have high sugar, high salt, high fat, and are designed in ways to encourage overeating. Okay. That's just the way that they're made.
Oh, for sure.
Because Oreo doesn't want you to just eat one Oreo. They want you to eat a whole handful and then use it up and then have to go buy some more.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's what's kind of scary. So a recent study links that eating high UPFs intake directly caused upwards of 17,000 premature deaths per year in England. Okay. That's not even all of the UK. That's just England.
Right.
That they're saying that they can completely show where this person ate a high amount of UPFs and then ended up dying early, or basically dying of a disease that was linked to basically eating crap.
Right.
Okay, so that's your obesity, heart disease, all the things that you can think of that a poor diet would cause. They're saying that that directly related to 17,000 deaths. And what's even better is that FDF, the lobbying association, they actually celebrated this change to the initiative on their website as a lobbying success, that they were proud of the fact that they were able to change the government's mind. Now, they later deleted that from their website, but they were proud of the fact that they were able to take a health initiative to get people to eat healthier foods changed, and they were proud of it. Okay. Yeah. That sounds like something that would only happen in America, right? Sure. That doesn't happen over in healthy Europe, Yeah. The other one that kills me is you always see the grocery store walkers, like the Costco walkers and stuff, how they're like, look at this box of Skittles. You can't buy this in the UK. Yeah, you can. None of the artificial dyes that are in the US are banned in the UK. Right. They just have different names. That's it. I think the only one, and actually there are certain dyes that are allowed in the UK that are not allowed in the US at all. We ban a whole lot more than they do. Okay. So this is one of those things where it's like, when are we going to stop putting corporate profits over public health? Yeah. Because that's what it comes down to. We can make true changes to public health, but more than likely it is going to cause a decline in corporate profits. And the way that our global food system works, when you have so few companies controlling so much of the food, it is based on a profit system where they have to constantly sell more in order to keep their shareholders happy.
Oh, for sure.
If these large corporations are not constantly selling more and making their shareholders happy, they're not going to keep doing it. No. And it's unlikely to ever have a company that's always has better profit, better sales every single year to infinity. That's just not the way, businesses work.
No, it's really not. And I'm never astonished at the lengths that lobbies will go to protect profit for major corporations. Like, it's literally their only job. And for a long time, lobbies were kind of seen as this altruistic, they're out here to protect us and the choices that we make.
And just in case you were thinking that it's only the American government that makes kind of snide remarks and blames previous administrations for our problems, when the Department of Health in the UK was asked about their decision, they basically said that all those decisions regarding the health initiative were made by the previous government, and that the current administration in the UK is still committed to tackling obesity. That sounds like it's straight out of the US, doesn't it?
Yeah. It sounds like it's definitely a play out of our book.
Yeah. But so it is nice to know that the US is not the only country that is affected by food lobbyists and basically bad marketing by the government, and the government having no balls.
I mean, I wish it was us. I wish it was only us.
I wish we were the only country doing it, but we're not. And it kills me because if you look at all these health and wellness influencers, I swear they all mention how much better food is in the UK and that they have this much better system in place. And the one that gets me is that they actually care about their people and that they actually are all in as far as getting healthy food to people. And all I got to do is eye roll, because it's totally not what's happening. It's kind of like the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
So if you're in the US, we're going to compare our food system to a location that is far away that most people in their lifetime will never go to. So they can't physically put their eyes on it unless I show you pictures that I may or may not have edited or cherry picked. When in reality, the UK, Europe, the European Union, they're facing the same problems that we're facing here in America. The only difference is they have shown through focus groups that Americans like bright colors, whereas Europeans actually don't care for bright colors as far as food goes.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with health. And there's been a lot of different like warning labels and stuff that have been attached to different products containing different dyes in the UK. And guess what? None of those were actually based on scientific research. It was all political in nature of why they got onto packaging, not based on science at all.
I'm not even surprised.
I want to be surprised. Like, I want to still have that illusion. Like, I want to be so gullible or naive to believe it all.
Yeah.
That there is this magical place that cares about people's health, that is, you know, the Whole Foods of Europe, like that there's dancing fairies handing out fruits and veggies, that if I just, you know, cash in everything and move to England, that everything will be fine and I'll no longer be, you know, unhealthy. So I kind of feel like it's looking behind the curtain and it's just not as pretty as I wanted it to be.
So like
The grass isn't greener.
Free will is still a thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like there's that. It's all going to come down to our choices no matter what, because nothing is perfect.
No.
I think the thought process that they're making choices that are more beneficial for their populace kind of comes from a place of they're paying for the health of their populace. So like it works to their benefit to provide things that are of higher quality or, you know, more nutritionally dense, whatever. But
there is also the argument of, yes, there is free will, but with the intense and insane amount of marketing that is out there for unhealthy foods, it is not unheard of or unfathomable that people are more likely to buy these ultra processed foods that are sold and marketed as healthy, when in reality, buying minimally processed foods like fruits and vegetables is definitely the healthier choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about all the ads and like commercials and just, you know, even like influencer marketing about, you know, ooh, look at this new fruit snacks for kids. It has the same amount as a whole serving of fruit.
Yeah.
It's not fruit, but it has the same nutrients as fruit. Still not fruit. Doesn't have the fiber or nothing, but
no fruit
still counts. And now you can have less mom guilt for giving your kids this.
No, it's
you know what I mean? It's all about the way it's marketed. Whereas when was the last time you saw a commercial for carrots or a watermelon, a kiwi? You know what I mean? Like, I never see, like years ago, you even used to see like advertisements for like the avocado board, you know, and they would literally market avocados. But now the demand for avocados is so high, they don't even have to market it. And the only time that you ever see something marketed that's a fruit and a vegetable is usually when it's an oddity involved.
Yeah.
Like I remember they came out with red pineapples, and I did see some marketing for that because it was very, very expensive. You saw a little bit of marketing when they were introducing new produce like pine berries. So it looks like white strawberries, tastes kind of like pineapple. It's very a weird thing.
Amelia loves it.
But as soon as they became commonplace, as people knew what they were, all of a sudden you don't see marketing. Like when was the last time you saw a commercial for oranges?
Probably because the orange groves are in rough shape right now.
Desperate need.
But
like, yeah, they're hurting. So I'm just saying that if you look at marketing spend alone, it's no wonder, you know, your free will is being bent to then purchase items that are ultra processed.
Yeah.
So you finally get a health initiative that wants to promote the things that are not getting promoted. And then the people paying all the money to promote stuff says, no, you need to promote our stuff. It's no wonder the world's going to crap and we're all like going to die of obesity.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's your happy little ending there. Sorry.
Thanks.
You're destined to be a fatso because all these big, huge corporations pay zillions of dollars to encourage you to eat more things that will make you fat. And by the way, I recently saw that the amount of supplement causing liver failure is up to 24% in the last decade, meaning that if you think you're being healthy by eating supplements instead of actually eating fruits or vegetables, you are now 24% more likely to have liver failure.
Yay!
Caused by the supplements.
Jesus.
So I'm just saying, we're doomed. We're doomed.
Yay.
We're all in a handbasket on the way to hell. That's all I got to say. Doesn't matter if you're in the UK or US. We're doomed. Let me know down below. Are you surprised that the UK is swayed by lobbying just like here in the US? And were you under the impression that food was somehow magically healthier in the UK? Let me know down below.